Hello YouTube, Chrome Freak here. You're looking at a H&R Harrington Richardson Model 650 that I introduced in a video, I don't know, about a month ago. I got this gun for virtually nothing, revolver, and to me it's a beautiful revolver. And I was going to do a review on it, and I started getting into the history of the company, which I love so much, is the history of firearms companies and firearms in general. Heck, the history of our country in general I love so much. Anyway, I realized at that point, Harrington Richardson is huge. It dawned on me, these are guys that made the M1 Garands and M14s. I figured, let me go ahead and get into doing a video on them. So this is going to be a video on Harrington Richardson, the company, / review of this beautiful little revolver. Nice little cowboy gun that I really enjoy shooting, I really do. Anyway, H&R Harrington Richardson is now a subsidiary of the Freedom Group, who also own New England Firearms, Marlin Firearms, and Remington. The original H&R was in business from 1871 to 1986. Up in New England, the Connecticut Valley firearms industry, where a couple of now famous brothers also started a company called Smith & Wesson. You know, that area up there led the world actually in firearms innovation. I mean, you can argue in Europe with Beretta and all that, but you can't argue about the innovation that came out of the United States of America back in the 1800s and all the way up until today. Anyway, it's kind of ironic also that that area up there, that New England area, actually led the way in the innovation of firearms, and today it's just such a turnaround, and it's so firearm unfriendly, it's unbelievable, and I just find that kind of ironic. Anyway, these brothers, Edward Wesson, who made percussion rifles, and Daniel Wesson, who at the time was considered a genius, a firearms genius, and made many breakthrough inventions in firearms. Ed and Dan also had a little brother named Frank Wesson, who started a company with a single firearm patent shared with a man named Nathan Harrington in 1871. Frank Wesson and Harrington produced, they're pretty famous if you heard them, the 2-trigger rifles, spur trigger pistols, and pocket rifles. He also started a very short-lived company called Wesson and Harrington with his nephew, all in the family, with his little nephew, Gilbert Harrington. I'm not sure if he was little, but it was his nephew. In 1874, Harrington bought the company outright, and in 1875, Harrington and a former employee, William Richardson, founded the Harrington Richardson Company. In 1888, they were incorporated as the Harrington Richardson Company, and then they became the Harrington Richardson Arms Company. The original investment for this company was $75,000, and in the late 1800s, that was a huge amount of money. Harrington was the president and Richardson was the treasurer. Both of these gentlemen died in 1897, and the company was heired to Edwin Harrington, which was Gilbert's son, and Mary Richardson, William Richardson's sister. In 1894, the company opened a new facility, and I'm going to try to get this right because I'm not from New England, guys. Gwar, cut me a break here. Worcester, Massachusetts, and they enjoyed a lot of success, and in only a few years, they had to expand the brand new building they had just built. In the 1960s, H&R was acquired by the Rowe family. The original H&R went out of business in 1986, and this pistol, by the way, was manufactured, this particular model, from 75 till 86. And the original factory was demolished and destroyed. In 1991, a new company using the name H&R 1871 Incorporated was formed and started making revolvers, single-shot rifles, and shotguns, all using the original H&R designs. Eventually, in 2000, H&R 1871 Incorporated was sold to H&R 1871 LLC, which is owned by the Marlin's Firearm Company. And they manufactured all their firearms using the original designs, like I said. They also manufactured, Marlin did, using the name New England Firearms, which I believe is still around today also. H&R 1871 LLC is currently the largest manufacturer of single-shot rifles and shotguns in the whole world. Unfortunately, H&R LLC, 1871 LLC, chose not to extend the lifetime factory warranties on these firearms from the time they took control of the company and back. They decided they weren't going to honor them warranties. I wish they would have. It would have been the right thing to do, but they didn't. Anyway, in 2007, Marlin, including all of H&R's assets, were acquired by Remington Arms Company. H&R 1871 LLC was moved to New York, the site of the original Remington factory, in 2008. The corporate offices are located in North Carolina with Remington's. I believe they share a building, which along with H&R and Marlin are all owned by the Freedom Group. H&R's currently produce single-shot topper and partner shotguns, also single-shot handy rifles, as well as NEF branded partnership pump shotguns and brand XL semi-autos, which unfortunately are produced in China and imported here. They also produce starter pistols, and during World War II, World War II era, they also, not only did they produce the Garands, but they also produced shoulder-fired flare guns, flare pistols, starter pistols. They're also the largest manufacturer of M14s, period. They made more M14s than anybody. They also made thousands of M16A1 rifles early in the Vietnam era. So this is a company that is very well known for their military name. And, you know, it's a company you really don't think about, H&R.